everyone to Forever Young with Dr. Kapoor, a wonderful young person sitting in this room, always doubting about your age, to be very honest. Yeah, a wonderful person, and I would love to take a chance and ask to introduce yourself to our wonderful public and tell what were the top achievements for the 2024?
Well, there are many. There is not one, and cracking the code of longevity and understanding epigenetics and be able to launch the world's cheapest epigenetic test for telomere sequencing. And then also bringing in all the omics together, launching Layer 1 blockchain network, and also launching my own coin for that network for data security and privacy. So a lot of cool things we have done last year. We grew globally. We opened up an office in Dubai, launched our longevity clinic in Dubai, called Biongevity, longevity with biology, and opened an office in Netherlands, and so many different things we've been doing last year. Yeah.
Incredible. That's pretty much on the way of what we were hoping to discuss today about longevity and how people pursue longevity right now, and maybe some of those fantasies are real. So lots of time when we go to Netflix, they show some documentaries about person doing exercises, doing lots of things to actually reverse their biological age in comparison to chronological age. So my question to you is that you are an expert in this topic. What is the difference between biological and chronological age? Why do I feel like I'm 30, meanwhile I'm on my 24s? Explain.
Well, it's a very important topic. So essentially what I want people to focus is on biologically. That's what matters, right?
Yeah.
So who cares what the age is on the passport or the date of birth? So that is such a
important.
news. That's such an old news, old fashioned. Today we define people based on biological age, how old you really are. You may be 30-year-old, but if you're biologically 25 or 21, that's a good news, right? And someone could be 50, but if they're biologically 30, that's what matters. It means they have the best years of life still pending. They can live the maximum and have the maximum period of their life without any chronic disease. So when you have maximum period of your life without any chronic disease, you can enjoy maximum in your life. You'll be able to prolong your life than anyone else around you. You'll be able to extract maximum economical potential from your capabilities, and you'll be able to live longer. That's what longevity is. So the difference in biological and chronological age is very simple. Chronological age is when you're born, and that is on the date of birth certificate. That's your chronological age, which people celebrate your birthday, but that doesn't matter. That's a yesterday news. What matters is biological age. Are you older than your chronological age? If you are, that's a bad news. If you're younger than your chronological age, that's a good news. Then you can follow that and make sure you remain younger than your chronological age.
Okay, so how do you determine the different, what are the factors contributing to the biological age? Because I'm sure that human body is very complex. So determining something as a biological age must be very hard.
Well, it is hard, but at the same time, it is not as complex as people think.
Okay.
And it's quite easy in that regard. I want to make sure people understand from different ways to assess it. Sometimes people talk about aging from the organ perspective, and sometimes people talk about aging from the epigenetic perspective. What matters is what is your DNA methylation. It's very common, very popular, and quite validated way people are looking at it, biological age measurement. Telomere is another way. If the telomeres are shortening or they're longer, that decides how fast you are aging, and that could be a risk factor for developing cancers in the future early on. If someone is older than their chronological age, so that is an independent risk factor for developing cancer later on because DNA is becoming unstable. And you can also look at from the organ perspective. So how old is your liver? Liver is usually the youngest organ in our body, always regenerates it. But how about your brain? How about your heart? your lungs, your kidneys, your intestine, your stomach. See, so all of those things matter. So there is a way to measure them through various biomarker testing, various cognitive physical assessments, some imaging evaluation, MRI, ultrasound, and come up with this conclusion or an idea what actually is happening in the body.
Okay, this is powerful. I assume Biongevity does all of that.
Biongevity in Dubai does everything.
Okay, next level. Totally next level.
It is the world's first over trillions of data sets getting evaluated in one person. Not 1 billion, 2 billion, trillions of data sets.
Trillions.
Exactly.
Wow.
So in Biongevity, people get to go through head-to-toe full assessment from their hair follicles to eye, ear exams to skin exam, dental, teeth exams, and everything checked in the clinic, along with cognitive assessment, ultrasound of the thyroid, heart, VO2 max testing, stress testing, mammogram if they needed, and the complete assessment along with circulatory assessment, and plus genomics, epigenomics, microbiomics, skin, oral, vaginal, gut, you name it, along with proteomic tests. So over trillions of data sets. And then we give people a variable. We ask them to now let us understand your epigenetic environment, that way you live in. And the environment you're living, how is impacting the pollution maybe you're living in, maybe the water you may not be drinking, the foods you're not eating, the good ones perhaps. So all of those things we want to know more, because not only the assessment, but how the environment is where you're living.
Sure, okay. You named lots of different things. I just want to, for my personal knowledge, to get in a little bit details. You mentioned telomeres, and then it's like the stability of the DNA, and then you mentioned methylation and epigenetics and how it all influences, and you also mentioned about the environment and its effect, right? So can you tell a little bit more about like what is telomere? Just so then I will get to know what that particular fancy word means.
Well, you know that. You're from BSc honors in genetics, right?
Maybe I'll pretend a little bit that I don't know that.
Well, the telomeres, they're pretty much the end of the chromosomes, and they do get shortened as we get age, and they start to impact our DNA. The impact of creates instability in our body. That makes us help age things fast in our body.
Okay.
Yeah.
The telomeres are responsible for my wrinkles. Okay, I'll know who to blame.
Well, you cannot blame them. But now coming to the environmental side, how it matters is when you are inhaling the bad air quality, anything more than 2.5 microns, and if you're going to continue to inhale and breathe that bad air outside or in your own home, it does impact negatively on your health. It contributes into depression, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and people who continue to live and inhale this polluted air, they don't live long.
I heard there were lots of articles about the lifespan and heart diseases impacting the population of the people who are in US that are living in the larger cities, which actually are more polluted compared to any kind of suburbs. And they found that there were like a significant correlation between the level of pollution and the level of the heart diseases, despite like they excluded the markers such as high cholesterol level in the blood. So even like such particular interesting studies that demonstrate that too. I just remember it briefly because you recall that. And despite of the interesting studies, there were a documentary on Netflix that I recall that there was this one guy who was doing everything, like name it, he has it in his home, daily monitoring through like neuro like helmet or something. They have the watches monitoring, taking 50 pills a day, exercising every morning. I'm like, no, Biohacker is a little bit different. I watched that one movie as well.
Okay.
Pretty fascinating. I love the glossy plants that they showed over there. It was like, I believe there was cannabis that they did, like they grow in the lab cannabis. It was fluorescent. I was like, I want to do it at home. I want to do it at home. It's not hard actually. So, coming back to that topic, like, do you think that such an extreme measures to reverse your biological age is actually like supporting? Like, do we need to go to those extremes, or there are some alternatives what we can do in like daily routine in order to actually be younger?
Well, it all depends on when you start to preserve yourself.
Okay.
So if you take an apple fresh from the tree and you're going to put in the refrigerator in the right humidity, right temperature, that apple will last longer. Yes, apple is programmed to die. The DNA eventually going to kill that apple in the fridge also. But if you take an apple that has been out in the sun, wrinkly, and may have some scars from the sun exposure, so you can put in the fridge, but will not last as long as the apple that has just taken fresh from the tree. But the apple that lasts outside the sun will going to die faster, right? Because the temperature, the environment around that apple is not the right one. Even though all the apples are born on the same day, but those apples are kept in the fridge in the right humidity, right temperature, is lasting longer. The apples that are left outside, somehow not picked on the day, is dying faster. So that's epigenetic, the environmental impacted. So how you want to preserve, if you truly want to live long or stay healthiest the longest, you have to start preserving your body the earlier. So the longer you delay this decision, the longer you take time to decide, should I, don't I, is it good science, not a good science? Now what's happening is the age is creeping up. Your body is aging, you're developing some diseases. And as soon as you get hit by diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, some other problems inflammatory in your body, it's very hard to slow down the aging. It's very, very hard because now we're trying to catch up. The harm is happening. So now we're trying to preserve as much as we can. So it's very important to understand. Start early when you are young, like an apple. Don't wait, and work together with the team in the longevity, and they can help you preserve the longest, like an apple.
Okay, I see. And all of those like different assessments, it's like kind of, in my head is like building a biological clone that you can see of like who you actually are. Because when I'm like, I consider myself healthy. I truly believe I do exercise, try to do exercise every morning. I am lying, I don't do every morning, but I do try. But from time to time, I do feel like there are some little factors that are there that I don't really like know about that does affect my, I don't know, feeling overall of happiness, like excitement, and like feeling alive. That's what I call like feel yourself alive. And I'm sure like one thing that I did my genomic testing, waiting for the results. We'll see what will show.
That's good. That's amazing. You start the journey already. This matters.
And I know.
Yeah, because if you don't start from genetic testing, the genomic evaluations, how do you know how to go, which direction to go? So the first step is accepting and committing that you want to live long. You want to live the healthiest and longest. And once the decision is made, now next step is getting the testings done. So then you get more data, billions of data sets coming to you. Then they give you knowledge and you feel empowered, you feel strong. Then you can take the right call at that time.
Okay, just to like, for my own personal understanding, when you have all of this data, how exactly do you navigate yourself in like such a vast data set overall?
That is true. That's true. So that's why you need doctors, dietitians, experts in this area, genetic counselors, exercise coaches. So because everyone has their own expertise. So they have to work together in longevity clinics. So we have a multi-specialty. We have cardiology, internal medicine, dietitians, exercise coaches, psychologists. So they all work together to make sure you get the best interpretation of the data. You're 100% correct. It's a trillions of data sets.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Right? You can get the test done and you say you go to some lab, you got all those things done. What does it mean individual to you? So you spend all this money, but it's important to understand that. So that's why longevity excels than any other longevity programs on this earth.
So that's pretty much cleared my question, because when I thought about like, I have trillions of data sets, I have all of this, and like, okay, what do I do? But like if the person does tell you of like guiding, okay, so probably reduce your, don't eat as much red meat, eat more like fish and like some other from the dietitian perspective, exercise perspective, I believe this is what I would need, honestly, in my day-to-day life, because every single time when I'm like, I want to get into my healthier shape, I don't really have the guidance that I would want to have in order to bring myself from the point A to a point B when I want to be, right? And also, on a personal note, I believe if you have another person supervising you, you feel guilty.
That is true.
Of not
And
doing
it's been
things.
shown that because people who have a personal trainers, they end up being exercised more regularly than people who have a gym memberships. They really go to the gym. So many people are like that. So you're not alone. And that is their business model. The gym people know it, that if 1,000 people sign a membership for that month, barely 100 will show up most days. So 900 people will never show up. So they're making free money. And people are thinking that, look, I have a membership. Somehow magically I'm going to live longer. This is not going to happen, my friend. You have to go to exercise. You have to commit yourself. It's a lifelong journey.
I see. I also want to ask about the, like, how do you measure the levels of like physical health, right? I've heard the VO2 max. I know this is the thing that people make you run and then with the mask and then measure the VO2. Can you like tell how these things work?
Well, essentially how we metabolize oxygen and how fast we are exercising and how body is reacting to all those parameters matters. Because VO2 max is an independent predictor. If someone does not have a good VO2 max indicators, if they're not able to improve their VO2 max, then it carries a bad outcomes for them. So if people don't have a good VO2 max status, they tend to live shorter and die earlier for various conditions. So it's very important to measure it. Traditional exercise stress test in cardiology office is done without VO2 max testing. Just look for the Bruce protocol, person exercising, the blood pressure, the heart rate response, but they don't look at how your oxygen is metabolizing in the body. So that's why VO2 max is very, very important to assess.
I see. Is it like more of like how the oxygen saturation works? Because I know like oxygen is very important for our brain and our overall function. Is it somehow related, or I'm in a very different field in here?
Don't worry about it. Why don't you come to Biolongevity Clinic? We'll sit down and we'll explain everything in detail with you.
Count me in. I have my genetic testing done already, so.
But you'll have to get your epigenetics done. You'll have to get microbiomes done. Then you come to Dubai Clinic.
Okay.
And then we are going to walk you through all the journey, all the questions you have. So this way you feel empowered and ready to take the next step forward to make sure you stay healthy the longest.
Sure, I'm in. Count me in.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so
very
much. Looking forward to having you in Dubai Clinic and or at BioAero ecosystem and help you in your journey. Because it's very important. You took a first step, taking these tests and get to know about it, spending some time. So it's very important in that regard. So I'm so proud of you, because if you don't take the step forward, don't start thinking that way, then you cannot move forward, right? You cannot move in the right direction. So now we have a BioAero Clinic, we have Biolongevity, helping unlock the potential of the DNA sequencing, microbiomics, epigenetics, and everything around you.
I see.
And empower you.
How did you tap into such a vast, like, I know it's super duper new, important, crazy, but it's like, the BioAero is not starting now when it's on the go, right? You had this idea before it became a hype. How did you tap into this idea in the first place?
Well, the way I live I'm a cardiologist. My business is making people live longer. And the things I was getting exposed to the cutting edge science and the human behavior. I changed my own behavior. I changed my diet from long time ago. And I knew what's happening in my body, and I was eating the right foods and maintaining my body that way, because I was seeing the impact happening on the patient. So that's very important in that regard. So that's where this whole and things start to happen with us. and now I want to empower everyone.
Powerful words.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to have you in Dubai Clinic, and
Sure.
thank you so much for everyone joining, having Alina today at Forever Young with Dr. Kapoor, and see you at the next show. Thank you.